Hare Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita 3.27, it is described how a sinful man goes through different hells where he is punished in various ways by the Yamraj assistants, especially one who has taken Diksha and he commits such crime, then it becomes more grave. The Guru does not forgive, and the person goes into karma yoni and karma bhog. So he keeps repeating that same karma again and again, and instead of doing bhakti and helping others and preaching, he suffers the karmas of his own actions and negligence and inattentive chanting and inability to follow the regulated principles. So we have this Bhagavad Gita Shlok 3.27 which says Prakriti Kriyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvasha Ahankara Vimudhatma Kartaham Iti Manyate. The bewildered spirit soul under the influence of three modes of material nature, he thinks himself to be the doer of activities due to the false pride, which is feeling of doer rather than an instrument in the Lord's hand. These are actually carried out by the nature of the person. The person thinks he is the doer of it and he suffers his destiny. The foolish person thinks he is independent of any law, but he thinks there is no God or regulative principle and he can do whatever he likes. Thus, he engages in different sinful activities and as a result is put into different hellish conditions life after life. To be punished, he engages in different sinful activities and as a result he is put into different hellish conditions life after life to be punished by the laws of nature. The nature laws are there. It may seem like we are alone, independent, and at this moment I can do anything, think anything, make others think anything, entering into their mind, make them go through hell, and no one will know. But this is material nature which is already in action. If you do such thing, then you will already the results are defined in the Shastras and they must act. So, the basic principle of his suffering is that he foolishly thinks himself to be independent, although he is strictly under the control of laws of material nature. These laws act of material nature. These laws act due to the influence of the three modes of nature, and therefore, each human being also works under three different types of influence. The laws act due to the influence of the three modes of nature, and therefore each human being also works under the different types of influence. According to how he acts, he suffers different reactions in his next life or in this very life. Religious persons act differently from atheists. Religious persons act differently from atheists, and therefore they suffer different reactions. The crow is the chewing the chew, and those who have gotten diksha from parampara system in ISKCON, they are going to suffer more because they are not following the other instruction. They should help others become Krishna conscious and not throw their sins which they committed in infinite lifetimes. So the one who has taken diksha suffers more than the one who is yet preparing to take diksha. And this he will keep suffering till he understands and begs for forgiveness. He has to beg for forgiveness. He will not be forgiven just like that unless he begs and removes the mental hurt and trauma he has caused to the other devotees for no reason to just exhibit his power. He has to suffer, he will never ever go ahead. And others, on whom he is inflicting all this torture, if they read the scriptures and tolerate and go ahead, they will be progressing. And this person will be under their mercy. So these are the laws of nature. It's not defined by anybody or doesn't willed by anyone. These laws are act due to the influence of the three modes of nature, and therefore each human being also works under three different types of influence. And according to how he acts, he suffers different reactions in his next life or in this life. Religious persons act differently from atheists and therefore they suffer different reactions. So, religious persons they suffer differently from atheists. So, if you are doing just deity worship, these are religious persons. They do deity, prasadam, bhog, and some incense, arti. So, these religious persons they act differently from atheists. Even the devotees fall under the religious if they are not doing bhakti. They are not doing bhakti all the time, then they are also religious persons only. It is they made bhakti as a religion and not bhakti above religion. Religious persons act differently from atheists. So such people don't understand that bhakti is different and above religion and not, and it is the same as religion. But because of their offenses, they make it as a religion. So they must act differently from atheists, and therefore they suffer more and different reactions. Shukdev Goswami describes the following 28 hells. So 28 hells are described in the scripture, and we will read one by one how it is. A person who steals another's money, wife, or possessions, he is put in a hell known as Tamishra. A man who tricks someone and enjoys his wife, who tricks someone and enjoys his wife, is put in an extremely hellish condition known as Andha Tamishra. So the man who is enjoying others' wife, he will be put in Andatameshram, a foolish person absorbed in bodily concept of life, who on the basis of this principle maintains himself or his wife children by committing violence against living entities, is put in a hell known as Raurav. There the animals he killed take birth as creatures called Rurus and cause great suffering for him. The animals he killed take birth as creatures called Rurus and cause great suffering for him. Those who kill different animals and birds and cook them are put by the agents of Yamraj into the hell known as Kumbhipa, where they are burned, boiled in oil. So, a person who kills a Brahman is put in the hell known as Kalasutra, where land perfectly level, made of copper, is as hot as an oven. So, a killer of a Brahman burns in that land for many years. And one who does not follow scriptural injunctions but does everything whimsically or follows some rascal is put in the hell known as Patravan. A government official who poorly administers justice or punishes an innocent man is taken by the assistance of Yamraj to the hell known as Shukaramukha, where he is mercilessly beaten. Now, these are the hells, and one must avoid hellish karmas. And it doesn't mean that you are doing bhakti, so you'll be saved by the devotees association. You will be saved, but again, if you keep committing the same, they will leave and you will fall into the hell. And you must commit on more offenses. So association does not guarantee bhakti, but association guarantees protection from hell. But if somebody in the name of bhakti is doing hellish karma, then his association must be given up because he will never let anyone do bhakti. So these are the rules, and they are very important. Not that I am become a devotee, I have taken diksha, so I am able and free to throw others in the hell. I cannot do such a thing. These hellish things are mentioned because if you commit these sins and chant, so using Harinam to commit offenses, doing offenses on the strength of Harinam is this offense. Committing offenses on the strength of Harinam or preaching that without committing sins, Harinam chanting is not possible. So these are the hells. According to the material nature of law, the laws of material nature, the person's mentality will be influenced by this material modes of nature, and he will not be able to contribute anything to the bhakti. So it is important that you should avoid all this after the initiation. Before if you do, then it can be accepted. But once it goes to the Guru, then to the Bhagwan, then the suffering is manifold. Okay? God has given advanced consciousness to the human being. Therefore, he cannot feel the suffering and happiness of other living beings. The human being, bereft of his conscience, is prone to cause suffering for other living beings. The Yamaraj assistant puts such a people in a hell known as Andapur, where he receives proper punishment from his victims. Any person who does not receive or feed a guest properly but who personally enjoys eating is put in a hell known as krimi bhojan. There are unlimited insects that continuously bite him, and one who is finishing off his karmas, suffering in this way, and is about to get purified. So a lot of karmas are there, and it's not that he is suffering in hell. A devotee never suffers hell. He is serving Krishna even in hell if needed. A devotee, first of all, never goes to hell, and it is the faith that binds him. But if he somehow slips into the hell, then but he continues his bhakti. So the insects bite him, but they get the sukriti, and not that this person will suffer karmas. So this is the devotee who is like that. But after diksha, if you knowingly commit so that you can become a pure devotee, this material loss of nature will punish that person extremely, and he will suffer hell, and he will not understand that he did some sin or mahapap. That is why he is suffering. He will go and try to distribute that to the other innocent people and drag them unnecessarily in that hell which he has created for himself by giving them his past Bollywood movies, scenes, lust, unusual activities of stealing, theft, bank frauds, then temple issues, temple fights for Guru's property, much more through using the prasadam to manipulate people's taste buds, including everything very abominable, giving them rotten food taste in place of hot prasadam, rich taste which they take, offering one shloka to the Lord. And they convert this into the rotten things and make them suffer for no reason, just that they are in power. So such people must rot in hell, and they will be made to suffer the hellish karmas. The person who is addicted to drinking wine and makes others drink wine forcibly is put in a hell named as Ayapan. One who violates etiquette by not showing proper respect to superiors is put in a hell known as Sharakar Dharma. A person who sacrifices human beings is put in a hell called as Rakshogan Bhojan. One who kills pet animals is put in. So these are the different hells defined. One who gives trouble to others is put in a hell known as Dandashut. One who imprisons a living entity within a cave is put in a hell known as Avat Nirodhan. A person who shows unwarranted wrath towards a guest in his house is put in a hell called as Purya Vartan. A person maddened by possessing riches and that's deeply absorbed in thinking how to collect money is put in a hell known as Suchimukha. After describing the hellish planets, now Shukdev he defines how pious people are elevated to the highest planetary system where demigods live, and how can they come back to the earth when the results of the pious karmas are over. And he describes finally the Lord's activities and his glorification. So these are the miseries that one inflicts on himself, and choosing to go according to the material laws of nature. So one should read this and know this. This is not ordinary because it affects the bhakti, which affects your chanting. When you're chanting, it's not that you are doing much better karma. You are suffering hell, and that chanting removes all the sins. The sins must be removed. Then the Vaishnava aparadhs will be removed. You cannot keep committing sins and then keep committing even Vaishnava aparadhs. So one who is committing Vaishnava aparadh by hurting a Vaishnava, he will suffer greatly in the future. And he must repent and beg for forgiveness. Otherwise, he will never get um, get liberated from his state, and he will even cause misery to his guru. The guru already has left him, and thus he will suffer and bring disgrace to his generations, generation after generation. His first generation, that is, he's the first generation of his parent. The first the offense goes to the parents, and if the cause of this is the immediate bad health, having surgical transplantations, all these are karmas, bad karmas, hellish karmas, amputation of the limbs. Such are the effects of the sins that are committed by such people. And it's not that Lord's mercy. They try to cover it saying that it is a Lord's mercy that the limbs got amputated. No, it is not the Lord's mercy. It is very naive to say so. The karma is never to be suffered. The prarabdha is not to be suffered. You don't have to cut your limbs. Krishna does not do such a thing to anyone. It's not Krishna's mercy. If your limbs are amputated, definitely you have done some great Vaishnava to that person. That is why he suffered your prarabdha or your karma and your apradhas. Your apradhas. So one must know this and read this again and again so that he will be scared to commit such offenses. So, just by executing various pious activities, one achieves different positions in heavenly life. By acting impiously, one will get different positions in hellish life. Those who are activated by the material modes of ignorance, they engage in impious activities, and according to the extent of their ignorance, they are placed in different grades of hellish life. If one acts in the mode of ignorance because of madness, his resulting misery is the least severe. One who acts impiously but knows the distinction between pious and impious is placed in a hell of intermediate severity. For one who acts impiously and ignorantly because of atheism, one who acts impiously but knows the distinction between pious and impious is placed in a hell of intermediate severity. And for one who acts impiously and ignorantly because of atheism, the hellish, the result in hellish life is worst. Because of ignorance, every living entity has been carried by various desires into thousands of different hellish planets since time immemorial. Now, the detailed description Shukdev has seen and given, and we will see this tomorrow. So, today, this much. So, impious activities in ignorance committed on different levels are grave, and one will have to go through the consequences. So, if you chant for 5 years, 10 years, and still you do not have purity of heart, and you keep committing such offenses and misguide people instead of helping them on path to Krishna consciousness, then you know that you have committed many hellish crimes, and that is why you are not able to chant pure. So, it is better to ask forgiveness, go to the Guru, request him to help you. He will instantly remove all the offenses without even you asking. The moment you ask him, I want to, please help me to chant, he'll remove your offense. You don't have to transfer the offenses to the others and make them a victim and give them all the impious karmas of your destiny, which is you are suffered to suffer. So, and one who is trying for Shuddha Bhakti and he understands this knowledge and he's preaching like that, that do not suffer your impious merits or impious karmas, ignorance. And if you put him in hell again and again, then you cannot be forgiven. So one has to avoid such attempts to defame and malign others' consciousness and better understand that he should take care that he has a wife and kids to look after. So that is enough to keep him busy. And if he feels that he doesn't have business and he's not able to think properly and spend idle time, then he should start reading books rather than entering in other houses and roaming like a whatever crow to reach out and steal their wealth of Bhagavatam service, because he has not understood service properly and he doesn't want to also. He's suffering and he should understand that and ask his guru for forgiveness, beg him, and then he can be forgiven. So the one who is initiated commits more offenses than the one who is yet preparing for initiation. So this is the difference. And after 10 years also, if you cannot chant pure, then it is a shame on the person that he has taken initiation and not able to chant pure yet. And he is doing impious acts after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, and pushing new people into hell. He couldn't achieve any purity in 25 years, and he's pushing new people into the hell. This is not expected of a devotee. You should be in a position to give association to others and not kill their Vaishnavism. So, this was about the description of hellish planet, and that's it. Hare Krishna.